All right, Gino, welcome.
Good to be here, brother.
Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to dive into your life on this episode. I think you've got a lot of cool things to share. So, would you mind just telling everybody who you are and what you're doing?
Yeah, man, this goes all the way back. Name's Gino. I have a consulting company for taking companies go to market software outsourcing for sales dev, account management, CS, support, all the way to AEs. Going back to who I am as a person, I've always loved sports betting. After the company started making a little money, I kind of have a night and weekends project called Bet Openly. So you'll see the name Bet Openly everywhere since I own it and we're self-funded. I don't have a marketing team, so I need to be the guy getting everyone to take a look at us.
All right, thanks for hopping on. So, kind of what we do here is we just dive into business owner, what they're doing, how they got to where they got to, what problems they're facing, where they see the market going, things like that. I was hoping you could dive into a little bit more about kind of where you grew up, how you got started in sales, and what got you to this point right now.
Yeah, man, I nailed the lottery on where I was born. I happened to be born in the 80s in the Bay Area. For anyone that doesn't know, back then a house was like 50 grand. My dad tells me that all the time.
Yeah.
There was a little tech thing going on in Palo Alto, but it wasn't remotely what you see today on all four sides of the Bay.
Yeah.
So went to high school in Burlingame, went down to San Diego State, got into sales at 24-hour fitness. I was kind of telling Josh this. I'll keep it light because I'm very unfiltered. I
actually like your Nordstrom story. I like that.
All right, I'll be honest.
Great story. Yeah.
I was a functioning alcoholic, age 16 to 25. So at San Diego State, I wanted to spend, come on, this isn't crazy. I wanted to spend as much time with a beer in my hand at the beach as possible. Yeah. And I was dead broke. I had a full-time job since I was 15 and a half. Back then, that's when they gave you workers permits. And so I was selling women's shoes. My friends call me Gino Bundy at Nordstrom. And it was good money. Like, you got to taste the commissions. You know, a woman walks in and knows what she wants. You're really just helping her get the right size and let her try them on and give her a couple compliments. And you would get as high as 20%. So, you know, Nordstrom had some shoes that I'm probably going to botch this, but I want to say were $200 or $300 back then. That's a long time ago. And, you know, so making 40, 60 bucks in commission when I was making $8 an hour gave me that taste of sales that you can't forget. You really can't go back to just this flat minimum wage when you have these like hours that pay you 5X. And I started talking to my buddies. I was in a frat at San Diego, and one of them sold gym memberships. And he was like, dude, do you ever like follow up with your clients? I'm like, all the time. He's like, are all the sales in person? I'm like, yes, I do have to be there to get commissions. He's like, you should cross over to 24-hour fitness. And I was like, okay. And back then, a lot of people might not know this. If you Google, like, it's not quite the PayPal mafia, but if you Google the 24-hour fitness mafia, there's actually some really successful people that went through 24 hours program. Dude, your first day, you get handed a phone book. You have nothing. The CRM is empty. You don't have a region. You don't have a territory. You don't own letters. You get a phone book, and they literally say, drive bodies in through that door. And you don't get walk-ins. Walk-ins are the people that are like, you know, Josh comes in and he's like, hey, I was considering joining the gym. Those are like bread and butter. You want to close those at 80%. You don't get those until you make your first 10 cold sales. So you're sitting there making nothing with a phone book and a phone. And so you're cold calling. You're doing a power hour for 8 hours. And I didn't really know at the time, but you're really going through a sales boot camp. So I then got hooked on, we had these things called lifetime memberships. They were $999. They were 3 years. I don't know why they were called lifetime, but here we go. And you got 20% of those. So now instead of $200, you know, 200 times 20, 40 bucks or 60 bucks, now I'm making $200. And if I get someone to agree to that while I'm on my frat couch and I drive in and handle this in an hour, I made $200 that hour. So now I'm hooked in. I'll speed it up now. Flash forward, I get a degree. Nothing against people that sell gym memberships. I was like, hey, I want to kind of move up the corporate world. I want to try tech. And again, I won the lottery. It was all around me. Startups. This is I graduated High school in '02. Don't judge me. College in '08. And no, I don't have a special degree, just a 4-year one. And this is '08. You guys know what happened in '08. Tech is struggling. I got an offer. I put in my 2 weeks notice. I was a manager at 24 at the time. 2 weeks before I was supposed to start, they told me they're freezing hiring. And I was like, I already put my 2 weeks notice in. They already replaced me as manager. I trained my replacement. That's not how this works. I was really nervous. I sadly got a lawyer, and I was like, hey, I'm not that kind of guy. I want the job. I don't want money. But the lawyer says I have a pretty valid case that I quit my job, trade my replacement. And they actually said, okay, fair enough. I actually think some people in my hiring class didn't do that and didn't get the job. But they're like, begrudgingly, they were like, all right, come in. So I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm excited. All I want to do is prove myself. Now I'm the asshole that threatened to sue the company that hired me. Like the first mistake I make, I'm out. That's how I felt. Thankfully, one of the training managers also went to San Diego State. Kids, this kind of stuff's really important. Befriend people. People like people that went through life the same as them or see it the same. I think we make huge mistakes now. We always see what people have different, not the same, like especially politically these days. Find out what you have in common with people. Ignore what you have opposite. There's no point. Who cares? We all disagree on stuff. You can always find something, but you can always find something you agree on. So I befriended him. Name's Dave Toulon. Shout out to Dave. Great guy, former Marine. And I'm not saying he did him any favors, but because I befriended, I felt like I wasn't now the jerk that got a lawyer to get a job. Like you don't want to start like that. So flash forward, I start, the stock is like $6 a share. It's this is Occupy Wall Street times. For kids probably don't remember that. But we did really good. We turned it around. The stock went up to $80, split and went back to 80. I was buying ESPPs at I think $3 a share because I get the lowest price point, which was the split. It was crazy. I was making as much on my ESPP at 20% of my paycheck as I was on my other paycheck.
Right.
So now I'm in an office. I'm happy. I got more money. This is, back then it's probably like 80 grand, but back then it was pretty good. I was probably only making 40 before. Have roommates living in San Francisco, and we have our laptop on our lap. So I then got this itch. And again, this is just me. I'm never happy. I was like, wait, why am I in this office 5 days a week? Like I'm fully trained. I'm fully independent. This doesn't make sense. And so I started shopping around jobs. This is about after 6 years. This isn't like, 6 months. This is, I think kids get misinterpretations these days of how impatient they are. So I actually started shopping around jobs like proactively and asking them if they would let someone be part-time remote. I wanted to travel the world. And 99 out of 100 people are like, no, what? We have this like expensive office. Like if I got to be here, you got to be here. So as crazy as it sounds, I actually started applying to foreign companies. I was like, well, if I can't travel the world and work, I'm going to move to Toronto. I'm going to move to Denmark. I'm going to get jobs at other companies and live in these places for a year. And what I didn't know at the time, I actually was building a resume that made me remote before COVID. I went to a startup. It was called Achievers, headquartered out of Toronto. Did that. Then went to another startup called Falcon Social. I think they have a different name now. I think both of them actually have different names now. They were out of Denmark. And then the biggest break I got in my life, a VC, Sequoia Capital, reached out and said, hey, we saw you've been working with our portfolio companies that are foreign based. Will you help us bring one into the United States? And I was like, yeah, that's what I do. It's my specialty. Like completely made it up. I just wanted to live in different cities and travel abroad. Right. So I brought a company into New York City that was foreign, and the title I got, I think, was GM, which didn't really even know what that meant, but I was basically head of sales. And I brought a foreign company to the U.S. So now I had a bunch of remote companies under my belt. I brought a foreign one into the U.S. And when I joined them, they had $1 million round. And when I left, I think we had a $70 million round. So a lot of that's not me. It's timing. If I'm being honest, I was a hard worker, but you need a good product. The product was dynamite. You need to hire right. I will say my strength was hiring. I hire really fast. I'll tell people, hey man, don't know if your resume is complete bullshit or if you're the real deal, but I'll hire you if you can start in 2 weeks. But I'm going to watch you closely for 30, 60, 90, and then you'll have a job at 91. If not, thanks for trying us. So that was one thing I always asked my founders. Let me hire my way and let me fire my way. And most founders are pretty cool. They're hiring people they trust. So that's how I got from sales, like Al Bundy, to remote-ish texting and calling on 24 to tech. And then I started really wanting to travel. Every decision I made, if I'm going to be candid with anyone listening, was selfish and had nothing to do with building a resume or career. It had to do with doing the least amount of work possible, working the smartest possible to get what I wanted. But the key there is I was happy. I never was unmotivated because I was building what I wanted. So I hope there's some lesson to take away from that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. By the way, what fraternity were you in at San Diego State?
Yeah, it was Teak, and then we became Sigma Pi. Teak got kicked off campus for I think we were, what's it called where you make the freshmen rushing, like you make them do stuff that's
Hazing?
really bad? Hazing. We were hazing a little too hard. We got kicked off campus.
Fraternities that haze? I mean,
I know.
That's weird.
I got two little brothers that are 10 and 12 years younger than me. The world changed from me to them, and now from them to now, man, I'm a dinosaur. I literally am the guy that's gonna be on my porch telling kids what it was like in my day. I don't even recognize it anymore.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. So that was awesome. So thank you. So now you're running this company. It sounds like you got a few different companies you have currently today. So you mentioned the betting company and the SDR company. Are there any other ones that you're doing as well?
Yeah. So I want to be clear too. The betting company is like my passion project, my night and weekends. I have a wife and two daughters. The tech company actually pays all the bills, seed to C, SDR ready.
Okay.
I'll elevator pitch it real quick. We
Please.
outsource sales dev I'm usually the fractional global director. I'll usually launch the project. Shout out to Jake at Scaled. He helped train me a lot. What we do is go from 0 to 1, and we'll get people their first SDR. I always tell founders this, and this is kind of a pitch, but it's the truth. The worst thing you can do when you're a startup is get a junior salesperson, stick them in the corner, and expect them to figure it out. They need that coach. So I'll answer this two ways. If you're an SDR or want to be an SDR, a college student, and you're serious about your career, don't go to a startup first. Go to a bigger company. They have resources to train you. They have middle management. They have people that are just dedicated to your success. I know you want to strike the lottery and be at the next Uber and cash out for 10 million. I wouldn't listen to my own advice, and I'd be doing it the other way. But you will build the skills at the bigger company. Go to Salesforce, go to Uber, go to companies that have established, go to Rippling, go to Brex. They have teams that have done this 100 times over, and they'll put you through their program, and then you get to add your flavor to it, your twist. Seed to C is that we work with the startups. Now, I have senior SDRs that have already been in sales dev for 2 or 3 years. They already have their own playbooks. They've already worked with me on 2 to 3 projects. We will get you your first SDR without needing, a $100,000 manager, $80,000 SDR, $150,000 manager, $80,000 SDR. You get a fractional SDR all the way up to full time. You can get multiple, and you get me 2 to 3 hours a week. You really don't need me much more than that. I'll write the playbook in 2 or 3 nights. We'll test it out for 30 days. We'll revisit it at 60 and 90. But that's my main source. I'm glorified employment arbitrage. I take 20%. We charge clients $2,500 for a part-time SDR. I steal 500 of that, the SDR. We have comp plans, KPIs, OT. So that's my main source of income. Outsourcing sales dev, outsourcing account management and CS.
Got it. And where do you find your customers?
Yeah, I've gotten really lucky to work with Y Combinators. So humble brag, I shouted out Rippling because they were one of our first clients. Man, I wish they were still using us. My partner AK over there, I think she has 180 SDRs Could you imagine if I was making 500 a month from 180 SDRs? I wouldn't even be talking to you. I'd be talking to you. I'd actually have a cocktail in my hand. So long story short, I'm really proud of the success that we helped. But again, I'm not taking credit for Rippling's success. Dynamite product, dynamite sales team. We just did what we do really well. And we helped them test certain scenarios for outsourcing. With that, we have startups, we have Ripplings, we have all the way down to Y Combinator first SDR. I usually keep between 25 and 30 clients. I usually have between 80 and 150 active SDRs on projects. That's why it hurts me so much that I know they have 180 because I'd just have one client and I'd be set. And we get everything from social media completely. We do social selling ourselves. We add DMs, connection requests, a lot of social farming, they call it. You know, not cheesy farming where I'm like, whatever you post, and I say, hey, do you need an SDR? I actually like the post. I actually engage with it. I don't mention anything I do selfishly. Just give advice based on the structure. A lot of people don't know how good the search tool LinkedIn. You can search for words, for topics. You can really start playing in the sandboxes you want to be in. Just don't be selfish. Don't be short-sighted. It's like dating, even though I'm happily married. You don't go in for a kiss in the first 30 seconds. Like ask them their name, where they work, talk about what they love, why they live there, blah, blah, blah. Save the kiss for like the third or fourth date. Otherwise, you're going to scare away the good ones.
Yeah, great advice. And then, do you want to then, the current business you have, so let's call it your 9 to 5 and your 5 to 9, right? So let's say you're 9 to 5 right now, you're helping companies go from 0 to 1. You're helping them scale and grow. You're getting them experienced SDRs, so they're not having to train them from the ground up, right? So you're getting experience. They're kind of walking in the door running already,
Yep.
right? So then you're growing that. You got 20, 30 clients. Is there a desire to go from 30 to 40 to 50 to 60, 80, 100 clients? Like what's your, do you want to scale or do you want to keep it at 20 to 30 right now?
Yeah, good question. So yeah, let's talk about some failures. I actually have failed a couple different ways in my life. More specific to that question, I tried to hire Gino 2.0 and 3.0. I tried to say, hey, like if I can run this book of business for 25, what if I got 2 or 3 people that each could run? So we're fortunate enough to ironically have inbounds, even though we specialize in outbounds, have referrals. I get some that literally just say, hey, this is your price. I want to pay it. When can you start? Like that's the dream. I don't even sell. Yeah, I failed on that. I don't think it's because I'm some superhero. I just think I have a unique set of skills. My job now is to motivate SDRs. If I'm motivating the SDR, I don't have to do anything. Really, if I'm being candid, I make 20%. If I find a good SDR, train a good SDR, and motivate them, the rest is history. I just write invoices and I meet the client once a month for an hour, hear about all their problems, write them down, meet with the SDR once a week, hear all their problems, and just play almost like marriage counselor. So yeah, my dream would be to train people to do exactly what I do. I've done a couple times and they spun off their own companies, which I can't judge because that's what I did. One thing we didn't talk about, I was down in Argentina working with a VC in a struggling portfolio company. They actually gave me my idea, if that makes sense. I stole it from them, but we parted ways on it in a good manner. They had me in Argentina recruiting expats because Argentina has very low overhead, very low cost. Their inflation's insane, but that's a different story. And imagine this, I'm in your inbox telling you this is pre-COVID, don't go into an office. You have the rest of your life to rot away in a cubicle. Come down to Argentina. I'll get you an American logo, a tech startup. You get to work with me. We party 3 days a week. We work in our sandals and live abroad for a year plus. And do
you know how good the steaks are in Palermo?
And the steaks are the best in the world. I will argue that. The best in the world.
They're amazing. Yeah.
And you get to save money. You probably have a debt from college. You get to save money. We don't pay a lot, but relative to your rent and the cost of a steak and beers, we pay a lot. And so recruiting was really easy. So what I realized pre-COVID was, wow, there's actually a remote market that you can attract the top talent without the top money.
Wow.
So that actually was the birth of Seed to Sea, was I stayed with them as long as I could. I actually started spinning off clients. I never stole from them. I never took from their book of business. I do have strong moral ethics. I think if you're good to people, it will come to you tenfold. If you're short-sighted, it'll cost you tenfold. So, yeah, the best ones do it themselves because really I have nothing proprietary except referrals. And the ones that are the easier referrals I want to keep for myself. And the hard ones, if you really earn it, take it, keep it for yourself. Yeah, I've tried a couple times to scale it past me. I now have, I don't know. Again, I don't have a filter, guys. I tried it with guys just because I thought, 2 more Ginos. I'm a guy, like whatever. Then right now, my top 2, my head of talent and my head of operations are actually girls. I don't know if that changed anything. They seem more loyal. They seem more organized. Again, kill me. I'm just telling the truth of what I've experienced. So yeah, we are currently scaling. Our churn is way less than our inbound, so we're in a good spot. That said, I have gotten a little picky. I do walk away from more clients. I can kind of tell. I don't want to say I'm always right because I'm not, but I can kind of tell who's going to suck to work with. Let's be first honest. If you're a founder listening to this, if you're just miserable and you're going to blame me for shit that's your stress and pass it on to me, we're not going to last. So save yourself the 90-day ramp up. If you're hardworking and you trust that I can handle sales dev better than you, and we're very fair. It takes 30 days to get about 25% of quota, 60 days to get to about 50%, and 90 days to get to 100% of quota. And then, the next 30 days will be that 100%-ish. We can slowly tweak it up. But if you're not patient, if you don't have 90 days to try sales dev and you need results yesterday, we're not a good fit. If you've already tried, this will be a jab at AI. AI for empowering SDRs, AI for replacing SDRs is not there. It's not there. I'll challenge anyone on any podcast, on any stage. Humans can kick the shit. Humans with AI can kick the shit out of AI by itself all day. Yeah. So if you've already damaged your TAM with AI and email blasts and you think I'm magically going to come in and repair it overnight, it's going to take time. You got half of your target addressable market to unsubscribe, to block you, to do things. I'm not a superhero. Like, we can buy you new domains and stuff and get around that, but it's not going to happen overnight. So the one sentence answer to your question, I kind of have a lifestyle business now that it's maintained. My girls are only 2 years old and 6 months old. So I just dropped Sienna off at school. She goes to school from 8:30 to 11:30 every day. So I need to be able to drop and pick off my daughter. I do work 60 hours a week still. To help you grow. We even have deals with products I'm excited about where they pay me half of what I just quoted, and I take equity. So there's some exciting startups. Again, we got lucky in some sense. Having Rippling was lucky.
There's always a bit of that. I mean,
yeah.
The most successful people you'll talk to, like, how you got there. He's like, well, 85% of it was absolutely just being in the right place at the right time.
That's what it was.
They'll all say that, but they work hard to put themselves in front of those opportunities. So it's not just always luck, but I totally understand. I hear what you're saying. My question for you is kind of like, how do we get Gino to the point where Gino is now got 1,000 SDRs at his disposal, but instead of working 60 hours a week, Gino works about 15 to 20.
Yeah.
How's that path happen? How does that unfold?
I've read the 5-hour work week, so trust me, I'm ready for that. What I'll tell you, and again, this is the most humbling experience I have, is people. My inbox is always someone that wants to buy our company, right? We have recurring revenue. We have pretty predictable revenue. I've been doing this for 7 years, and I swear to God, I tell them, if you bought me and I handed you this business, I don't think you'd have it in a year. Like, I'm truly the one.
Because you're so integral to.
Yeah, it's just not a tech company. It's not. It's a consulting company. Consulting companies are the hardest to sell unless you have a playbook that you're rinsing and repeating.
Yeah.
And again, we do have that. It just hasn't worked. So I honestly don't know. I want that too. I've tried it on smaller scales. So I'll give you we'll give you the whole umbrella right now.
Yeah.
Right now, I am back to bringing in 100% of the clients and launching them. Now the 2 assistants I mentioned, Augustina and Maite. I now will launch it for 90 days and I will hand it to them. I've even now introduced in the last 2 years a new program. If you're the first SDR on a project, it's not that enticing. It's really frustrating. You have a founder that's really stressed. You have to build it from 0 to 1. You have to try 10 different things. You're not just getting dropped in and get to just smoothly do everything. So now I tell people, if you're the founding SDR, I'll make you the team lead and I'll give you a percentage of my 20% for every hire after. So I've kind of started building a ladder, an umbrella, and that's where we're going. The real bottleneck is I haven't successfully been able to get someone to give us leads that are as good as the ones I can get and launch. So hopefully I get to that place. But as of today, I have massively reduced how many hours I spend with my recurring clients. They don't even want to see me anymore. They're like, no, we don't want to pay you hourly.
We're good.
Like, yeah, like you're hitting goals. Yeah. We're good. Let's reduce some of our overhead. So that's a huge win for them. They're like, we can get these hours down, get this cost down, and really just run.
Yeah.
So after 90 days, I do have most of my clients that I say I can go away and literally this can run. I'll still meet with the SDR. That's how I earn my 20%. I need to keep them motivated. And I'll still meet with the client once a month. So that really is what you're talking about. If I am only meeting a client once a month for an hour, at 30, that's 30 hours a month. We're great. That's 7 hours a month. The SDRs, once I get to a team lead, I now only meet with the team lead and the other SDRs. I don't do one-on-ones anymore. So I do pull out of all of that. That really is the goal. And then I'll just talk cheesy for a second. I will say I just talked to a founder that's doing some really exciting stuff with AI. I'm not that technical. A lot of it's over my head. But I saw his inbound list. I saw the logos in it and the titles. And the last thing I wanted to do was hand that off to someone. Mm-hmm. I was like, I want to run this project. I want as much stock in this company as possible. I'll give this kid free. The kid looked, unless he just has amazing genes, he looked 15. I was like, I don't know what this kid's doing, but he looks great. Yeah. He's either a baby genius or he just looks amazing. And when I saw his list, I was like, that's where like the selfish greed in me, but also I'm only successful. He's successful. I was like, holy shit, I want to build this with this kid for a year. So that's where I want to get. The struggling that I've already tried it. Can you save me's? I do a couple of those, but I want the ones that they're bringing a product to market and they realize hiring an SDR manager, again, no offense, an SDR manager probably has 15 years less experience than me. You get more for less, like cliche, but true. You don't need me 40 hours. It's boring.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I think, one of my first jobs when I was a kid was I sold cancer insurance door to door in the country.
Wow.
And, and it's literally like I would have to convince someone on the first day on a Monday morning to invite me in for breakfast. And I had a county map and I had them explain who all lived everywhere and who had cancer and who was impacted. So when you see someone, young coming into this, I'm like, you know what? I don't think you have as much experience as I do. So I totally get what you're saying, because you were like the women's shoes, you were the 24-hour fitness guy, you were doing everything, phone book, ground up. So there's a lot of equity that what you built over time. So I could see your reluctance to sort of give that up because of what you're doing. Okay, you got to tell me what that is. I don't think I've seen that.
These things are amazing.
Is it a pound resistance or something?
It's resistance and your wrists. Again, I'm aging myself. I'm 42. You type a lot. Your bone. I don't even know that your bones, your structure. Like you get these things. Anyone watching, buy these. You twist them. You'll hear the cracking. You'll loosen up.
Yeah.
I used to go to doctors for this stuff. Now someone recommended it to me. I squeeze these things all day.
Yeah.
I feel 5 years. My hands feel 5 years younger.
Yeah. Click the link below. We get $5 for each sale.
Only make 20%. Wait, so your story is fascinating. Sorry, if I could turn it back on you really quick.
Yeah.
That's real sales. So if I can I want people to be able to walk away from this with a couple of clips that are really helpful. No, I'm being serious. When I sold women's shoes, I actually wasn't in sales. I want people to listen to me. If you are sitting in a store and someone walks in to shop for shoes, you're actually in customer success. They were already decided that morning. Let's talk mornings, breakfast. No one woke up and said, I want Josh to knock on my door and sell me insurance today. That is sales. So when I have a, you can tell I'm a little vocal, but I have strong opinions. I actually told my sales manager, Nordstrom, this isn't sales. You're training us on the wrong stuff. I want to be trained in psychology and customer success. And he's like, who the F is this 19-year-old punk? And I was like, sales would be if you had me walk out this door, we were in a mall, and people with shoes on their feet that don't want to come in, I said, hey, can I show you a pair of shoes? And they look at their feet and they say, I have shoes. I don't need shoes. That's sales. If someone's walking in, so I want to be clear to SDRs because I know you guys get big heads and I deal with a lot of you. If you're taking inbounds, you are not in sales. I want to be crystal clear. You're in qualification, you're in filtering, you're in listening, you're in psychology, you're in a lot of different really good skills to have, but you're not in sales. Sales is, this is your territory. These people don't know what we do and haven't asked for us, and you convince them to give you an hour of their time. Yeah. That's sales. So I wanted to be clear on that. Josh did sales. That's fascinating. I could talk for that for hours. Secondly, I do actually think inbound isn't the best gateway to outbound. I actually think they're two different categories, two different skill sets. There's nothing wrong with going from inbound to outbound because you learn the product. You learn the objections. You learn what people think of your product versus what you know about the product. You learn how to bridge that. But I will tell you, some of my best inbound reps never succeeded in outbound. And some of my best outbound reps loved inbound, but they had some of the lowest conversion rate. They loved it because they thought it was so easy, but they're sitting there at a 65% conversion. And again, I'm sorry for being so into gender and all of these different things. I just notice habits. Some of my girls had the highest. They listen more, they talk less, they're more patient. They crushed inbound conversions, and they just weren't aggressive enough for outbound. They were so thoughtful that when someone gave them one no, they were done. They're not like, and again, I use sometimes unsocially acceptable examples. Girls don't go up to 5 guys at a bar asking for numbers. They'll play it cool. They'll play it safe. If someone says no once, they respect that. Again, I don't want to get into like, it's okay to ignore people's no's, but in sales, a lot of times you actually need to respectfully and professionally pursue past the no. So the reason I say all that is, yeah, to Josh's point, that's what I bring to the table. A lot of first-time founders are a lot smarter than me, went to better schools than me, but they haven't sold an effing thing in their life.
Okay, so if Gino could go back in time, start C2C over again, what would you do differently?
Yeah, I would always have had my leadership program. From my first client, I would have told my first client, first SDR, my goal is to not be on this project with you, but to hand you this project. That's kind of what I'm building, Josh. If I really had to zoom out, I'm trying to fade away and go from making 20% to making 10 and hand SDRs that 10% recurring in addition to what they make. So I'm trying to build like a management layer. Okay. I would have built that from the start. I didn't build that for 5 years. I tried to after 3, but I started too big. I tried to find Gino 2.0. Yeah. I should have said, wait. I have clients, successful ones. I have really good SDRs that have earned a position at the management table. I should have started there. Interesting. And then maybe once I got enough of them, I should have built like a director where I'm still the owner, added a director and the manager. That's what I did wrong. I tried to clone what I did versus build it up. I actually mistakenly was too entrepreneurial and not enough corporate structure. I should have been more corporate. I should have been more Cisco. Hey, you have 10 SDRs, get a manager. Hey, you have 20, get 2 managers. I should have done that.
Great lesson. Okay, future of SDR work over the next 1, 5, 10 years. What's it going to look like?
If you're an SDR, you have to be a technology adopter. You have to. You have to adopt every new tool. There's so many tools out there that are giving people free months, free indefinitely, because they're trying to break into a market. You need to have comfort with tools. AI is never going to replace you. I need to say this, and I don't think people are going to like this, and I want to actually have a follow-up call fighting someone on this. AI will never replace humans in sales. Mark my words. Never use the word never. It will not, and I'll tell you why. Humans don't want to buy from AI. They want to buy from humans. So humans are actually the only reason AI hasn't already replaced SDRs. AI, in theory, can do almost everything an SDR does, except it repeats over and over and over again. So if you're an SDR that can be replaced by AI, you're not a good SDR. I'm just being candid. Your sales loft and outreach already tried to replace you. I can run Apollo today and really reach out to the equivalent of 1,000 SDRs. It's what's going into Apollo. It's the right titles, right companies, the why thems, the why nows. I'm sorry, I'm like dropping things now. Those are lessons I teach my SDRs, but really important, why them, why now. If your email doesn't have that, it's a failed email. Right title, right company, very important. No, that doesn't just mean run a report for directors at tech companies. Way, way deeper than that. So if you can adopt tech as an SDR, this is tech that your founder doesn't have time for. They're trying to keep their company afloat. They don't have time for the latest, greatest sales tools. One pops up every day. Adopt technology, you'll always have a job. Adopt technology, you are actually pre-programming yourself to be a manager. The manager needs to filter out the bad tech from the good tech, the tech that empowers, the tech that costs $1,000 a month but saves you $10,000 a month. So that's my first statement. AI is never replacing SDRs. SDRs that adopt tech will always have jobs. Secondly, if you are a good SDR, you eat what you kill, you're actually ready to be an AE. Most AEs are terrible SDRs. I'm going to say this. Tech grew faster. Tech demand and VC money on Sandhill grew faster than the skills of sales. There are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of AEs that never should have been promoted out of SDR. They never earned the right. They never would have been promoted at 24-hour fitness. They still would have the phone book and they would have never got 10 people. Imagine if you can't be an AE until you get 10 people ice cold to buy your product. That's real sales. You know how many people just like showed up every day and were decent and then other people quit and they're like, well, looks like you should be the AE because you know the product best. Nothing wrong with that. Good for them. But that's number two. If you know how to eat what you kill, you can be an AE at a struggling company. When marketing doesn't come through and your SDR's failing you, put on that hat. Make your own money. That's what people don't realize. Most AEs will quit. They'll go somewhere else. Hey, how many leads did you get? What's your quota? They're actually shopping around, asking everything that I would say is a red flag for a founder. That's number two. And then last but not least, and I hope everyone's listening, if you look into the data of what it takes to be a millionaire or a billionaire, I don't really care about billions. Millions is plenty. It's very high percentage entrepreneur and very high corporate management executive. Those are actually the two highest percentages. I want to say they make up 74% of all millionaires. So you can be a millionaire really easily two ways. If you actually want to work hard and closer to guarantee it, stay in the corporate world. You have a way higher conversion to millionaire. Just going SDR to AE, AE to manager, manager to director, you can get there in 20 years. No problem. And again, I use the word millionaire loosely because now that's like buying a house. And then entrepreneur. If you can't bring in your first couple clients, you're going to struggle. If you think you're going to go through Y Combinator and money's going to get thrown at you, yeah, that was about 10 years ago. That's not the case anymore. You now need to bring in money, show how you're going to get your first 10 clients, show how you're going to keep them, and you'll get enough money to pay yourself enough to pay your rent, not to get rich like they did like 10 years ago. It was like a good path to millions was just coming up with shitty ideas that sounded cool and just taking other people's money. That game has changed. So, but if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you really do need to be an SDR. I swear, you need to be able to network. You need to be able to listen. You need to be able to overcome objections, and you need to be able to get people to take a call with you. If no one's going to line up to hear about your product. They are not. There's too many products out there.
So that's the key lesson here, kids, is from Gino: pick up the darn phone and call somebody. Yeah. Get them in the front door, right? That's it.
This is going to sound cheesy, guys, but a lot of shit's remote now. There's really good products for virtual sales floors. I know it sounds stupid, but imagine Josh and I in this room, but with like 8 other heads. They go mute when you're calling and stuff, but it sucks. This part breaks my heart at my age. You're hearing the alcohol in me, but I miss getting a beer after having a good day. Like your manager being like, dude, you effing crushed it today. Like, let's go to happy hour. It's 3:30. Dude, you crushed it. You did 3 days of work today. Let's go. That's what breaks my heart. And then on the flip side, I fought for that. I wanted to be in the city I wanted to be in, to not be in an office. So I'm really catch-22 here, and my poor daughter's going to have to hear about it every ride to school. But virtual sales floors, if you are remote, that's like bare minimum. And I'll just tell you why. You need to be able to hear what the person that's kicking your ass is doing. You guys might have the same script and go through it and you listen to their calls and you hear the same thing. There's just one little minuscule thing they're doing that you're not hearing. And you got to be in the room with them. And then when you hear it's like it being at a gym. We all could have a garage gym, but when you see that person in the gym doing 1 extra rep, putting on 1 extra plate, that's what you need. So virtual sales floors, par for the course. I'll do another plug. Ashley Kelly and I run a Slack community called SDR Ready, completely free. And you'll see people post jobs in there. People post startups in there. People post free tools in there. I think there's about 4,000 SDRs in there. I use that selfishly as my bench for SDRs. So if you ever want to try what Josh said, not the 9 to 5, but the 5 to 9, I have plenty of startups that want to underpay. They can't afford doing cool stuff, but they want someone on nights and weekends. So if you ever want to try fractional, it won't make you rich, by the way. It's going to make you an extra $500 a month or whatever. But if an hour a day gets you an extra $500 a month and you love it and you're buying Bitcoin or stock with it, it'll add up in 10 years. I swear to you.
That's great advice, man. Gino, thank you so much. These are just
Absolutely,
great
man.
nuggets of just someone that actually has been out there and slogged it and done it and got it done and has now built a great business to support him and his family and a bunch of other people that are trying to grow their careers and help a bunch of companies go from 0 to 1 and beyond with bringing people in the door. So thanks for all you do, man. This was awesome. Really appreciate your time. And to find out more about Gino, people just need to go to seed2c.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, seed2c.com. We also, I own Bet Openly, BETOPNLY. That's a whole nother story I won't get into. I love sports betting. It's a peer-to-peer network. And LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn every other day. I try and post 2 times a week. And I just try and just post educational stuff. A lot of it's opinion. So guys, if there's no right or wrong way. If you disagree with someone's opinion, engage with them. Like, make friends in this space, network. That's what LinkedIn's for. It's really sad, and I'll be an old man for a second. I see, if I want engagement on LinkedIn, I just need to make bold statements, because more people will post or comment to disagree than to agree. I don't know what that is. I see it on Twitter a lot, or X. People love disagreeing more than agreeing. That doesn't make sense. Could you imagine living in a house where everyone just disagreed with you all day? That's where divorce comes from, and you'd move out. Why do we want to live on social media with disagreement all day? I really don't understand the psychology of it. I don't get it. But if you don't believe me, I challenge you, everyone listening, agree with 10 people a day for a month. Agree with 10 people a day for a month. And tell me your life and social media footprint isn't better. There's a 0% chance. I'll put anything on the line, any dollar amount. Agree with 10 people a day for a month, and everything about your life will be better. It'll be more enjoyable to open. Hey man, thank you. It's just happier to read, and you'll have effing leads. You'll have connection requests from people that agree with you that are doing business shit. I don't get it, man. I'm convinced I can coach a social media class. And still, I see 9 out of 10 people that are like, they're whining all day. I don't have leads. My business is failing. And then I look at their activity log. They're fucking miserable. You couldn't pay me to spend time with this person. It's insane. Yeah. Why? You're miserable. You fight with people all day. You're insane. So I don't get it, man. So I hope that helps one person out there. If you're young, agree with 10 people a day. Even if you don't agree with them, lie with them. Have fun. And I'm telling you, your life will be your professional resume will be substantially better if you just agree with 10 people a day.
Yep. All right, guys, hit this guy up. All right. Thanks a lot, Gino.
Later, Josh.